What's up, guys? Chimp here with another quick market update, and it's been a couple days since I've recorded a video. And the market's been selling off. We've obviously had some big pumps on the way down from 124.5K, but they've basically all been reversed and we've made new lows. And to me, that's like very classic sign of a bear market. Uh, maybe bear market's not the right word, but very classic sign of a strong downtrend is big squeezes, big rallies, but the market dying. And look, there's a lot of reasons why this is happening. I mean, first of all, you can only keep up like market euphoria for so long, right? Like we ended up pumping early July, and now it's the end of August, and people are just like people get burnt out, right? That's just the reality of these things. Like you, it's not 2017. You don't get like a year of straight up only. We're in a market of massive speculation, of massive crime, and so you get that going on, and then the market sort of just bleeds out and dies out, right? So that's what we've been seeing. Um, Obviously we had that Jackson Hole pump that got fully retraced. Then we dumped under 110. We pumped up for a while, and then that got retraced, right? And the question is, what's next? Is this thing going to keep going down? Is it going to finally find a bottom? And we can go through all the data, which we will. So to give you the TLDR, I think we're still going to go down. I don't think there's any reason to bottom anytime soon. I think we're at extremely overvalued levels. But let's just go through all the data and talk about it. So first of all, ETF flows. Again, this thing has never, and I've been talking about these ETF flows ever since it topped sort of in mid-July. It's basically been flat, maybe even slightly trending lower. TradFi is just not buying, right? It's evidenced through, one, the ETF flows, but two, the treasury companies, right? Sailor, his premium is totally cooked. All the other ones like Metaplanet, right? Metaplanet used to buy, they had weeks where they were buying close to 2,000 Bitcoin. They're now buying like 100 Bitcoin the last week, right? And who knows how much they're going to buy the week after. They might just stop buying. Sailor's obviously cooked. The Nakamoto people, I mean, people should just go and read those tweets. And in hindsight, we'll obviously look at those treasury tweets and whatnot and be like, wow, these guys were just like total morons. But go and read like some of the hubris from these tweets. Like, the reality is, this was one big like mega buying bubble, and all these people sort of top bought. And again, this is just my opinion. And now that they're done buying, there's just no one left to support the market, and that's what the price action's telling you, right? We had this secondary push to 124.5. David Bailey bought the top, and it's just been a bleed out. And you just have to zoom out, right? If you just zoom out, the trend has been pretty strongly down. It's not like anywhere around here, right? If you look, like the entire time, like the trend was up, it's clear. Here, the trend was pretty flat, and it looked more of like a stop run. Here, the trend has been looking down, right? Besides like this brief, like, if anything, this looks like a deviation. Like here, the trend was flat, then you sort of get this deviation. If anything, like slightly trending up. Here, the trend was down, you get a deviation, and then the trend down continues. So I don't know ultimately when we find a low, but I think we are going to go lower. And what are some of the reasons I think that? Like, the question is, well, first let's look at open interest. Actually, global open interest still 99 billion, right? So leverage in the market's still pretty high. And let's see if it'll load here. Again, when we were at 108K back in July, I'm just going to tell you the numbers if it's not going to load. Open interest was at 70, right? So 30 billion more in open interest. The market's leveraged up. All this open interest was added at the top. And now there's a lot of people underwater, which is why I think like ultimately pumps are going to get sold into, because there's so many underwater positions, like they're basically like all trapped. And again, like when I think about the market and I think like, well, maybe we are going to bottom. Maybe I should consider the fact that we could bottom. I think about things like Solana, which I've talked about as the canary in the coal mine. Again, like every time this thing has this like V-shaped pump, it's been like a local high, right? So the last few days we pumped all the way to 217, 218. Next day Bitcoin's down $5,000. Um, and again, like when Bitcoin was at 112,000, the first time, like a month ago, Solana was at 160. Now at 203, right? So there's seems to be a lot of froth that's still left in this market. Not to say we can't like find local bottoms, that we can't bounce, that you know we can't get meaningful moves back to the upside, but I just don't see how we go back above 124. And let's just take a quick look at the hyperliquid liquidation maps. You are starting to see some more ape behavior, like you have some random short with a lick at 113. By the way, I should also say it is a Friday, right? Like in terms of the U.S. trading hours, so it's possible we find like some sort of local bottom today again, but we'll see. But again, like you still have a ton of longs that are like pretty exposed all the way down to the mid hundreds, so we'll see what happens. But I still think that there's a lot of long positions based off open interest and based off looking at some of these liquidation maps that are exposed. I mean, you look at something like a Fartcoin, again, something similar. Like you do have some big shorts on Fartcoin; they're starting to materialize, but you still have a lot of longs that can get liquidated there too. So ultimately, I think we're going lower. Um, we'll see what happens, obviously, but I think the market's played out. It's a race to the exits now. It's a slow race to the exits, but a race to the exits. And we'll see what happens. So, anyways, guys, I'm leaning down, but we'll see what happens in the coming days. So, appreciate it, guys, and until next time, take care.